record. So we have started. Welcome everybody to our program presentation today on programs in Italy. We are very excited today to have a couple special guests who will add to our conversation today and be available for any questions as well. My name is Sarah Vatch. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am one of the advisors in the Study Abroad office. Sarah and Katerina, do you want to do a brief introduction as well?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Belarzik, and I am the academic specialist in the UC-EAP system-wide office, specifically for Italy programs. So I work with courses and grades and transcripts and all that fun stuff. So I'm here to help with any academic questions that you may have.
And hi, everyone. I'm Katerina Georgieva. I'm the program specialist at the UC-EAP system-wide office. So what that means is I help more with the logistics side. And once you apply to your program, it's helping you prepare for your time abroad. So we're happy to be here with Sarah for this session today.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah and Katerina. We're excited to have you. So not only today are we going to talk about UC-EAP, we're also going to talk about some of our other programs, but we're so lucky because the majority of students we do send to Italy are through UC-EAP. So to have the knowledge base of our guests is so exciting. And yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we are going to get into Italy. All right, so hopefully you're all here today to learn more about Italy. And if so, you're in the right place. If not, stay anyway. It will be fun. And we are going to go ahead and get started. I wanted to mention this is not a Get Started program. If you have not already been to one of our Get Started sessions, please do. Today is about jumping in and learning about the program. So I will talk a bit about the different options, but not in so much detail compared to our Get Started course, not course, but our Canvas course is one option, and then also our Get Started sessions. So this QR code will take you to our Get Started page. That doesn't mean you need to leave this session. Please stay, but we are going to focus on the programs in Italy. And then if you have any questions about the differences in programs and all of that, please attend one of our sessions, do the Canvas course, because this will give you more background. It may even inspire you to think of things that you perhaps are not thinking about in terms of your goals and timing and stuff like that. So today is about getting into all the details of Italy and answering those questions, whereas the Get Started course is to learn an overview of everything. So I just wanted to mention that so our expectations are aligned today. I also see there is maybe a question in the chat. I just want to let you know, I'm going to try and answer most questions at the end of our presentation today, just so I can focus in on why Italy, right? And then we can answer some of those questions. Some of these questions might also be answered at throughout the session. So just thank you for your patience with that. So why Italy? I mean, why not, right? I see this beautiful picture and I just want to jump inside of it, to be honest with you. So Italy is a fantastic option for students studying abroad, located in Southern Europe. There are a diversity of programs, such a wide variety of academic areas for students to study. There's also opportunities to study with local students and international students. Internship and research opportunities are available. You can be in Italy, but take your classes in English. You can also have the opportunity to learn some Italian language if that interests you. And then, of course, food, art, culture. Such an amazing country to really dive into regional cuisines, the history of so much of where so much started in terms of Rome and just the history and the archaeology. Italy has so much to offer, and beauty too. It's also very easy to travel around Italy in terms of trains, flights. While you might run into hiccups when you're there, there are a lot of very beautiful and interesting cities not too far from one another. So our students who do study abroad in Italy are able to see a lot of the country as well. So there's just so much to see and do, which could be some of the reasons why you're here already today. So today we're going to talk about the featured programs in Italy. This is not only UCEAP. Unfortunately, we do not have a global seminar in Italy this year. However, if you're not thinking this year, you just want to gather information right now, Italy is usually a location where they will be back, as well as our global exchange and other programs. So we're going to highlight a few of the options today, and then we'll have opportunities to answer all of your questions about these programs too. So I just wanted to show you a bit of a map of Italy so you have an idea of some of the locations of the cities you can study abroad in. So you're going to hear us talk about Milan, Bologna, Florence, Rome, and also locations in the southern region as well. A few years ago, I was able to visit some of these locations, and Bologna, Rome, Florence, they're really about an hour, hour and a half away each dot. They're relatively close to one another. So it was really easy to travel around on the train there. So as you can see, there's a lot of amazing cities. And then of course, between these bigger cities, you're gonna find lots of other smaller towns and villages to visit as well. This is just highlighting a few. So we are jumping right into it. So UCEAP is the UC system-wide provider of study abroad. So UCEAP serves not only UCSD, but all of the UC schools in California. The UCEAP builds partnerships with universities abroad, as well as has study centers in locations. And we're going to talk about a few. Italy really highlights those options for us. So they're a great example of the different programs that UCEAP is in partnership with. You may have learned this from the Get Started session, but one of the wonderful opportunities with UCEAP is your credit is UC transferable, and you all the classes you take and pass, those grades will be factored into your UC GPA, and you'll get units towards graduation. Of course, you're always going to need to speak to your department and college advisors about how those classes then fit into your academic plan. But this is an opportunity, a great opportunity to have this seamless transfer of credit. So first, we're going to start with immersion and what that means. So universities where UCEAP calls immersion are where you're studying at the university alongside local and international students. So you are like a regular student there. Well, you're a visiting student, but you will have your classes with local and international students. We have more slides on these, which one of our UCSD faculty, actually, who happens to be the faculty director in Bologna right now, serving Italy, the UCEAP Italy Study Center. Unfortunately, he was really trying his best to be with us today, but his travel was getting in the way of that, unfortunately. But he did create some beautiful slides for us, and his name is Ivano Caponigro, and he put some additional slides together for us today. So we will enjoy those in a bit. There are 3 universities where we would consider immersion, where you have that opportunity. We have the University of Bologna. It is all majors welcome. There are art studio courses. I do want to highlight that the UCEAP Study Center is there, and then I'll go into more details in the next slide. We have in Milan, the Bocconi University. It's a business, econ, and finance program. So there are some very specific requirements for that particular program. It is not an all majors welcome program. It is very specific majors welcome program. And it is quite competitive because the capacity is constrained for this. And we can go into that in more detail as well. Last but certainly not least is Padua. At the University of Padua, it's a psychology and cognitive science program with some restrictions as well of being within those majors, and also spring and year only. And we'll get into those in a moment. So immersion is an amazing opportunity for you to really get a feel, hopefully culturally, with the style of learning at those universities, get a taste for being a student there, and meet local faculty and students as well. So going into these in a bit more detail, and then I'm going to, at each slide, I'm going to open it up to our friends from UCEAP who are the experts on these. I lend some expertise and they add some really important additional wonderful information. So after I go through each slide, they will add some details as well. So these are in no particular order, but first is the University of Bologna, UNOBO. I think a fun fact that we used to share, which is so fantastic, is that Michelangelo went there. So you know him, he's pretty famous in Italy. But again, we have this opportunity to study with local and international students. All majors are welcome. They have an array of courses in English that are outlined on the UCEAP website, so that is super helpful. If you are someone who is taking Italian and has 2 years or more and feeling confident in your Italian, you do have the opportunity to take classes in the host country language. There is also amazing, amazing support from the local UCEAP Study Center, which is located in Bologna. The crew and amazing people there are your support network and are just the bright light of this program. I think our students are really so supported when they go to Bologna and have so many wonderful opportunities. If you're not already following them on Instagram, it's one of my favorite Instagram accounts. They're always posting classes they're doing, excursions they're on, just so much great insight from the students and the staff who are local. So you can really picture yourself there. There's internships available. And of course, it's a hub of food, culture, and art. And then on the next slide, this was provided by Ivano, who can sadly not be here right now, but he wanted to highlight some of these additional features of the program. It is the oldest university. As I mentioned, there's courses in English or Italian in so many fields. We've had students satisfy requirements for majors, minors, GEs, you name it. There's really such a great variety. As you can see, you are taking classes with local and international students. If you go during the spring or for the academic year, you will have an opportunity to take fine arts classes. And it's a university town with classrooms throughout the city. So as you walk to your classes, you just have this historical environment. These are a few pictures, and also one of our students, Victoria from UC San Diego, who's there. Look at that big smile on her face. She's having the best time. This slide highlights the study center. As I mentioned, you have these amazing staff to help you while you're there. Here they are. Again, look at that beautiful sunshine in a tortellini making class. So as you can see, there's internships, language opportunities, so much support. You really, from students I've spoken to who've come home from that program, just feel such a sense of welcome and family from the support network that you get when you're there. There's also service learning opportunities, cultural events, and we've had students who are able to work when they're there. I've had a couple of students come back who were teaching English or nannying. So there are some additional opportunities. And yes, I'd love to open it up to Sarah or Katerina if you would like to add details to these slides.
Yeah, just real quick, just an extra note about the intensive language program that you see on this slide. That is something that you do as soon as you get to Bologna. So even if you don't have any experience with the Italian language, it's a way to kind of do a crash course and learn Italian that is going to help you just feel more comfortable and more at home while you're there. So no matter what level of Italian, even if you've never studied it before, there'll be that intensive language program to help you get out and about in the city and learn more about how to talk to people in a shop or in a restaurant or things like that. So that's a really great opportunity that this program has.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sarah. Katerina, jump in whenever. I'm going to move on to the next one. If you have anything to add, just let me know. Next is University of Padua. This is a psychology and cognitive science centered program. You must be declared in one of these majors to be eligible. Courses are offered in English. You can take Italian language. Again, this local and international students. It's a top university in psychology. But as you can see, it is limited to spring and year-long study only. So there is not a fall option. So if you're looking for it, it's not there if you think it's missing. This is a relatively newish program to UCUP in terms of like the pandemic years and it coming up, but the students we've had participate have really enjoyed their time there, and the psychology and cognitive sciences department on campus are well aware of it. The cognitive science department in particular keeps a running list of courses public on their website. So if you're a cognitive science major interested in Padua, if you go to the cognitive science website and look under study abroad, they have this Google Doc showing every course that's been petitioned from various universities, including this one, and how it's counted towards requirements. So if you're interested in that. So a lot of diversity in coursework, interesting coursework, maybe stuff you don't see offered on campus at UCSD, and that's fine. We're building our electives and getting this experience of some different universities as well. So because it's not new, but like new-ish, we haven't sent a ton of students, but the ones, as I mentioned, the ones who have really enjoyed it. And I think it's given them a really great background in psych and cognitive science. But again, Sarah, Katerina, if there's anything you'd like to add, I appreciate it.
Trying to get all my video on and everything. Yes, it is a relatively new program, but we have, now that we've sent a few cohorts abroad, we have a much better understanding of it. There is an international student office at the university that assists students with a lot of the processes and is there to assist students. But also over the last year, the Bologna Study Center staff has also started supporting students in Padua. So students have an extra kind of UC presence there in much closer proximity than we are here in the US. But definitely the students that go enjoy it. It's usually a bigger cohort in the spring, but I know that the year-long students enjoy their time as well. I mean, we always say if you're able to go abroad for a year, it's always better. So yeah, I don't know, Sarah, if you have anything to add. It is also, I would say, a little bit more of an independent program. So students have to be proactive kind of when you're abroad and thinking about your classes and just kind of everything that goes along. But there is that support from the international office and now from the Bologna Study Center staff as well.
Thank you, Katerina. And I think that is what is so important, especially like regardless of the program, is having such a strong support network when you are abroad and being closer than we are here in California is just so lovely for our students because there's somebody in your time zone if something comes up, or you just know who to go to because there are those just like natural adjustments once you are abroad. So thank you. Bocconi University is the last in terms of our immersion opportunities. This Bocconi is the University of Commerce, Luigi Bocconi. You must in all caps be majoring in business admin, management, econ business, econ, or accounting. Very limited capacity. So the course prerequisites are very strict and they're outlined very clearly on the UC EAP website. Thank you, Katerina, for that, because if you do want to take those econ classes, is very important that you're completing the series that are recommended for you. When we say apply early, that means when the UC EAP app opens, which is for fall and year on November 20th. So if this is a program you're interested in and you know that you meet the eligibility, which again is on the UC EAP website, and you've taken the prerequisites or you'll have them complete, apply early because it will most likely fill and fast. This is a renowned university. Students are very excited about it. So I think like for the types of classes you'll take, the location, as well as perhaps the connections you'll make when you're there. Bocconi is a really exciting opportunity for our students. Katerina, I'm sure there's some insight you would love to add to this one, especially because of the all caps musts on this one.
Yes, so definitely the major. So you do have to be declared in your major when you apply. For the prerequisites, they are on the website, but just to give you a heads up about them, it is having completed calculus and then the intermediate microeconomics and macroeconomics series. I believe at UCSD those are series, so I think it ends up being about 5 total courses that you must complete prior to departure. So maybe, you know, if you're ready to apply, if you're applying for next fall, you're ready to apply next month, and you'll be taking the rest of those courses in winter and spring, that's fine. So you have up until the last term prior to departure to complete those prerequisite courses. And I have heard from some students that maybe not the full series are required for your major, but the full series is required for the program. So you would have to fit all those courses prior to departure in order to be able to participate in the program. But yes, apply early, and I think that's all I got.
Cool. Thank you, Katerina. It's always great to hear that encouraged because it is a popular and very specific program. So we know we have a lot of econ majors, business majors on our campus, and this is a really exciting opportunity. All right, so we are now moving on to the next cluster or option for students to study abroad through UC EAP, and those are the UC Study Centers. So UC collaborates, or UC EAP collaborates with an organization called Accent to host students at their UC centers. So you'll see these designated on the EAP website as UC Center Rome, UC Center Florence, and then there's a multi-site program which utilizes the centers as well. So the programs are offered at various times. You will, instead of being at the university, you're going to be in a beautiful space in Florence or Rome, taught by local faculty. There are a few different versions of the programs offered in the different cities as far as UC Center Rome and Florence. So I'll start with those. And UC Center Rome, we have Made in Italy, which is fall and spring quarter. Really exciting to have a spring quarter option. We're so happy about that. As we know, being on the quarter system, students love to see that option. Or Art, Food, and Society, which is winter quarter and spring semester. What is great about the UC centers, and this, you know, goes for Florence as well, and the multi-site, is the courses are very set, whereas if you go on the EAP website, you're going to see course descriptions, you're going to see it's very clear what you can choose and what is offered. Same goes for the universities as well, but sometimes you're going to be you're going to be looking at way more classes at the universities because it's a university. They can offer more options for our students. And UC Center Rome, it's going to be a bit more strict with what you can take because they can only offer so much at a center, but they're curated for the programs. Again, because this is UC EAP, all the classes you take and pass are UC transferable, units towards graduation. How then those classes fit into your plan, though, is up to the advisors for your major or your minor or your college. So this was one of the questions that popped up in the chat is if you have questions about any of the classes that are offered at any of the programs we talk about today, please redirect those questions to your academic or college advising offices because they're going to be the ones to review and approve that coursework. Made in Italy, so going back, sorry. Made in Italy has a business and entrepreneurship lean. So when you look at the courses for those, and that goes for Florence as well, you are going to see classes with that theme embedded. Art, Food, and Society is a bit more social science and cultural of the region that you are in, with some great variety of courses that are humanities, social sciences, and some art classes as well. The UC Center, the multi-site program, the Sustainable Food Systems in the Mediterranean, you'll actually be traveling to each of those locations, a few weeks in each location with classes that kind of overlap and then are special to that location as well. So a lot of variety in the UC study centers. You will be taking classes with UC San Diego students, as well as and it could be, please correct me if I'm wrong, Katerina and Sarah, but students who are studying from other US-based universities at those study centers as well, or else you'll meet them. We had a student come back from one location, he met some students from another university. So the accent centers that UC EAP partners with do serve a multitude of universities from the US. So you might meet some students from other locations as well. Please jump in.
Okay, wow, that was, and I have a new laptop, so I'm having a little bit of trouble. I'm sorry about that. But yes, the UC Center programs are designed for UC students, so you're mainly in classes with just UC students. There's more structure to these programs compared to the previous immersion programs that we saw. There are some students from other universities, I think 1 or 2 universities in some of these locations that are also able to take the courses and be with you on the programs, but they're a smaller cohort compared to all the UC students from all the UC campuses. The programs are, since they are designed for UC students and kind of more structured, they're also going to be more cultural events, and there's at least 1 or 2 excursions, like a day excursion to other locations in the area for you to explore for the UC Center Rome and UC Center Florence program. A lot of the courses also include a lot of site visits. Some courses will have more than others, but all of them do kind of make use of the city that you're in kind of as your classroom, and a lot of the class meetings will take place outside of an actual classroom. The multi-site program could be considered maybe a little bit more fast-paced just because you're moving around. I think about 6 weeks in Florence and Syracuse, and then 2 weeks at the end of the program in Istanbul. But yeah, there's now with the new spring quarter option, there's a lot of variety in the terms when you can go abroad, and there are courses listed on the UCAP website that you can already see of what's been offered in the past and what's likely to be offered. Again, it's a first come, first serve course enrollment process. So it's really important that when you're discussing the program with an advisor that you kind of have more backup courses in mind, because there's no guarantee that you will get your top course choice. So we do definitely encourage you to have backups in mind, and kind of being open-minded to the fact that you may not get your top course choice, but the courses are all pretty great. So hopefully there's more than one that would be able to satisfy some sort of requirement for you to make it worth it.
And I just want to add that we do also have summer options in the Made in Italy, Rome, and Florence programs as well. So those are a bit shorter than like a semester. Oh, and there they are. Look at that.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, so there are summer options as well, which are very popular with our students. We have the versions of Made in Italy, Florence, and Rome, where you will also be at the UC centers that we mentioned before. These are shorter in length. So instead of a quarter semester, I believe, are they 6 to 8 weeks, I believe, these programs. And with similar options of courses as well. So just you would take less classes. And again, all that information is on the EAP website. They organize it very well where there's drawers and you click summer and it gives you an example of what would be offered and how many classes you would take so you can get a peek at the structure. Thank you, Katerina, for adding the details about the classes and the format, and also the first come first serve basis of those classes. So it is really important as you're doing your planning, you're always in communication with your advisors. While we help and support you with study abroad, unfortunately, we cannot approve your petitions and how these classes go towards your requirements. However, we are very equipped to give you the tools to have those conversations with your advisors. So please make sure you're having those conversations early so you don't run into any surprises when you come back from your study abroad, of course, especially if you wanted to use those requirements towards your GEs or major or minor requirements. And last but not least is this environmental science and Sicily course. It used to be called volcanology, and I'm guessing it still has, you do study the volcanoes in the region, but I'm going to let Katerina talk about it a little bit more, or Sarah. And Sarah, yes, anything you would like to add with these summer options is great. I also wanted to add, because these programs, as Katerina and Sarah mentioned, offer so much support. Also, that includes your housing. When you look at your fees, it's very obvious, like what is included in those fees, because it's all they're kind of wrapped in a nice bow in a sense. So yeah, anything you all would like to add?
Yeah, I can add a bit more about environmental science. Yeah, in the previous years, it was specific to volcanology and really specific to geology majors. And we've just kind of opened it up a little bit more so that the courses are even more relevant to people maybe studying environmental science, biology, even anthropology, earth sciences. So it's a combination of classes now that you do a field study, that you're like going out all around the island of Sicily and studying the volcanoes or the beaches or different aspects of the land, but then you're also learning about like the human impact and the interaction between the two. So it's a really cool program that we're excited about opening it up to more majors. And you actually don't need to be within a specific major, but if you're interested in environmental science in general, it'll be a really, really fun program.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. And I wanted to talk a little bit about maybe the difference between Rome and Florence, because I think we get that question a lot from students that are kind of trying to choose a program. And then, we have Made in Italy Florence and Made in Italy Rome, and the courses are kind of similar in both locations. So in that sense, you probably find courses that work for you in each place. And I think there is sort of this draw for American students going to Florence, and kind of that maybe picture of what an Italian experience should look like. And I kind of want to flip that a little bit, that yes, because of this, there are a lot of American students that are in Florence. And so that kind of adds even more to that US bubble. So you're in classes with UC students, and then when you're out and about, you're probably hearing more English, and maybe that will make it more comfortable for you. But on the flip side, we do also have Rome, which is, maybe a lot of you have not been to Rome yet, but it is, it just feels like a city that has no comparison, of kind of that mix of very old and new. And you still, would have your cohort of US UC students, but then when you're out and about, you kind of feel, I would say, maybe a little bit more like you're in a different place, and maybe those around you are speaking in English. Both locations are going to be pretty touristy, but with Rome being bigger, it kind of has a bit of a different feel. in that sense. So, if you're trying to decide between the two, maybe do some research and see what would work best for you.
Yeah, wonderful additions. It's so true. Florence being an old medieval city, it's very compact, so you can turn a corner and run into a lot of college sweatshirts. I noticed when I was there years ago. So yes, kind of hard to get lost. And it's all within some city walls and built out. Rome is much more spread out. So you get more neighborhood feels and things like that. And being a larger city, those are great components. But don't worry, you will find gelato everywhere you go. So thank you so much for that. And we wanted to point out also the virtual UCEAP Study Abroad Fair, which will be on Wednesday, October 23rd. So please scan the QR code. This information we will repost on our socials, and also we'll have it available. Maybe on the EAP website, but anyway, the virtual study abroad fair is also another space to get some really wonderful information as you decide where it is where you want to go. And then just a couple days later, we have our Study Abroad Expo, which I'll go into in a minute. So now we're moving not away from Italy, but just from UCEAP and talking a little bit about our global exchange programs. You may be wondering, what is a global exchange program? And global exchange is UC San Diego's bilateral partnerships with international institutions. We have about just under maybe about 15 of these bilateral agreements in Asia, in Europe, really amazing opportunities for all majors. There are some that are specific to STEM or engineering. So if a program like this is interesting to you, please check out our page about global exchange and those bilateral agreements. What bilateral agreements means is that the tuition you pay to go to UCSD goes towards this program. So these are relationships between UC San Diego and these international institutions. So this agreement makes it so you can pay your UCSD tuition and go on these programs. Because they're exchanges between the programs, and we send some students there and they're sending some of their students to UC San Diego. We can't send everyone who applies. There's usually a max. So if a program like this is interesting to you, applications are due soon. With this particular college, Colegio Ghisleri, I probably butchered that, and my apologies. All majors are welcome. They have a slew of courses taught in English. And I think the semester or year-long option, so there's a lot of flexibility. The one thing with global exchange is while you stay enrolled as a student, the courses do come back as transfer credit, but still what you pay to go to UCSD pays for those fees abroad. With this particular program in Italy, this is unique to this particular global exchange program. This is not for all of them. There are amazing funding opportunities. So the first is that your housing and your food are paid for. So this is totally covered by the exchange. So you do not need to think about payments for, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what that is. Okay. Somebody asked for something as I was speaking. My apologies. So this particular university, they are funding a lot. So they are funding your housing, they're funding your meals, and UC San Diego in particular has this Dr. Renato Del Becco Italy Study Abroad Endowed Scholarship. So it is a mouthful. So priority for this scholarship goes to students who are attending or apply to go to this university and are accepted. There is still money, and I learned just actually today, I did not know this until today, so I'm really happy to share that students going on UCEAP programs are also who are arts and humanities majors. I'm sorry, I should mention that. If you are an arts or humanities major, you are eligible for this scholarship, and that is not only for this global exchange, but also for UCEAP. So that is something I learned, and I'm really excited to be able to offer that for our students who qualify. So again, we can't send every student on this program, and the scholarship is limited to arts and humanities majors, but this is a wonderful exchange opportunity for our students at this university, which is located about a half an hour from Milan, and Milan is where Bocconi is located. So kind of connecting all the dots in that region. Once again, I do want to mention that with similar to UC-EAP, you still need to speak to your advisors about how the classes will count towards your requirements, but it is an amazing opportunity for our students. Other UC programs and other campuses offer their own study abroad opportunities as well. So we like to highlight those as an option for you to research. If you happen to not find the program you're looking for, most of these, I would say like 90% of these are offered during the summer. So if you go to Berkeley, Davis's, Irvine's, UCLA, you name it, website, they're going to have their own summer programs listed. So this is very similar to our own global seminars. Sadly, we don't have a global seminar in Italy this summer, but my guess is one of these universities definitely does. So check those out. When you study abroad through another UC campus, that credit is UC transferable. Grades will factor into your GPA. A big difference is that you do need to, when you apply directly through that campus and then our system as well. But their specific application is going to be what, that's how you'll find out if you're in the program or not. So if you are, as you research your programs, if during the summer maybe you are interested in a different city or just curious what else is out there, that's where our students will find these UC campus programs. And because they are similar to our global seminars, these are specific courses. So you're not going on these programs and being able to pick and choose a variety or a couple classes. These programs are very like what you see is what you get. You're going to see a couple courses listed. They're themed opportunities, but really exciting ones as well. And another beautiful angle of Florence there, the Duomo. And then we have, which this is kind of, I don't mean this in a negative way, but this might be the last option that students choose for studying abroad. We refer to it as OAP or opportunities abroad. These are just other study abroad providers that have study abroad opportunities. These are programs unaffiliated with the UC system when you apply to them. So if the courses are deemed UC transferable, they'll come in as transfer credit. So if you find a program and it may not even be one of these that I've listed, it might be something unique you find on your own, please, please, please come to speak to us in the advising office, because the process to get those courses reviewed can be a little bit more complicated, more steps involved. And we want to make sure that if you do choose one of these programs, you're following them all. You're following all the steps very closely. There are some really fantastic opportunities in cities that UC-EAP or Global Exchange or global seminars do not go to, or options during the summer that maybe the dates work better, or things like that. So those would be sometimes some of the reasons why students choose non-UC programs. Some students may choose non-UC programs also because they're a non-resident student, so they're which might make the cost of some of these programs more affordable too. So please, if this is something that you're curious about, or you've already been thinking about a non-UC program, because that sometimes happens when maybe you've had friends who've studied abroad, or your parents went on a program, or your sister, your brother, or someone in your family, that has happened many times, and it's like a legacy. Students want to go on the same program. Please, please come and speak to me, and I will help walk you through the next steps. So financial aid and scholarships are very, very important to our students at UCSD. So it is important to us. And we have funding available for most terms. UC-EAP has specific scholarships for summer, fall, year, winter, spring, you name it, with 2 separate scholarship cycles. There's also national scholarships. So if you're a Pell eligible or Pell awardee, you're eligible for the Gilman Scholarship, which runs, they have 2 scholarship cycles as well. We in our office have a financial aid advisor. He's available at drop-ins on Fridays, but also by this email address, which I've shown here. His name is Eduardo. He's so helpful. He works with our students from planning through departure. If you know exactly what program you want to go on and you notify him, make an appointment, he'll create a specific budget for you based on your award. And this has really made students feel much more comfortable and confident about taking this, this step to study abroad, because we know while some programs are very comparable or the same cost as studying at UC San Diego, sometimes they're more expensive. So it's understanding your aid that can really make a difference. So I wanted to stress that we do have support. That also includes information sessions. And on the next couple slides, I'll have a QR code for you to scan. If you go on our website, you'll see the scholarship and financial aid sessions listed. But we want to make sure you attend those so you get all the information you can about your funding and study abroad. I also want to say that there are scholarships for merit and for need and general. So please do not count yourself out if you don't receive financial aid. If you do receive financial aid, there are many, many opportunities available for funding. So just a quick, I can't talk anymore. A quick link to our fall quarter events. This link will take you to all of our upcoming info sessions. And then this session and others are all being recorded. So you'll soon find those recorded links to our YouTube page where you can rewatch these sessions as well. And then we also have our Study Abroad Expo, which I mentioned before, which is on Friday, October 25th. This will be located in Town Square, so between the Chancellor's Complex and the Student Services Center, right near Croutons and Yogurt World. So please stop by to say hi. UCEAP will be there. Global Seminars will be there. Our Global Exchange, Financial Aid. We'll have information booths. So we'll all be there to say hi and support you and answer all your questions and get you excited about studying abroad. So what's next? So continue to research your study abroad options. Please speak to all of your advisors, everyone that's part of this process with you to help answer questions, bring clarity to your choice, whether that's your major, minor, college advisors, us. You can meet with us as many times as makes you feel comfortable. We're also, we're available. We have our drop-in advising, our info sessions, and then we're in the virtual advising center if you have questions quick questions that you would need answered. Application deadlines for 25-26 are out. That's on our events and deadlines website, as well as we have detailed information about how to apply. As I mentioned, UCEAP applications for summer, fall, and year. Summer open, well, I'll separate that. I'm sorry. Summer UCEAP opens November 14th. Fall and year open November 20th. And then if you're thinking about winter or spring of 26, takes my brain a minute to get to that next year. Those applications will be due in the spring, and we have all this information on our website. The application within Tritons Abroad, which is our in-house, so UC San Diego Study Abroad application system, that's open now. So you can get started on that, but for UCEAP in particular, you do have to have both submitted. For Global Exchange, that's also open now with a November 1st deadline and more deadlines listed on their website. And then if you went through a different provider, those deadlines are listed as well. So I know there's a lot to be mindful of and a lot of dates and deadlines, but we're here to help you every step of the way. So without further ado, that wraps up our session, but I am going to stop the share and I'm here if anybody has any questions. You can pop off mute, throw it in the chat, anything that will bring clarity to the process. I'm here to help you. Thank you for being here today. Yes, hi Yang. Yes, the eligibility requirements for Bocconi are on the site. On the EAP program page. We can throw that in the chat for you. Which advisor should I talk to in my class where the classes offered in UCAP? Yes, so depending on what you want to satisfy when you're abroad. So if it's important for you to get some GEs taken care of, then you want to speak directly to your advisors at your college, see what GEs you still have left to complete. And then, thank you, Katerina. And then, yeah, see what aligns, right? So I'm going to use 6 College as an example because long ago I used to be an advisor there. So there's a narrative, aesthetic, and historical reasoning requirement. So let's say you still need to satisfy that. Humanities, language courses usually satisfy that. So if you found that, you want to bring that to your advisor, say, hey, I'm thinking about taking this to satisfy that. And that's kind of how you would bridge those conversations. Same goes with your major. I would talk to them about what are the best kinds of classes to take while you're studying abroad. Is it electives towards your major? Because every major, you have your core requirements, and then usually have a list to choose from of classes to complete your major. So usually that's where study abroad comes in. So it's having those conversations. Part of our application process and our in-house, so in Tritons Abroad, is a form called the academic planning form. That's something where you can, you write down potential courses you're going to take, and it routes electronically to your college and your major, minor, depending, and then you get feedback from them as well. But you can have those conversations sooner than that, so it adds to your planning. I hope that answered that question. Yeah, so major advisors for major requirements and college advisors for college requirements. Any other questions? Okay, well, I'm gonna